Welcome back to Native Honor Hours. I'm Ed Zendejas and co-host.
Anybody you want me to be.
No, who are you?
I'm not telling. I might say something offensive. This way they can't find me.
I think the federal government requires us to identify ourselves if we're occupying the public airwaves.
Okay. Legally, Lucinda Ann Melton Novak Krafka.
Also known as Goofy.
Cindy, Grandma. Cindy, Grandma, many names.
Big goofball Cindy Krafka.
It's summer and grades are in. I'm in a great mood.
I still need to do my grades.
You know, every year when I look at Facebook and see all the Native kids graduating from high school and college, I think right on. I don't think most people know how hard it is for these kids just to get through their first year of college, just their first year.
Those are our Indians of the week, month. Those.
Oh yeah,
graduating.
Definitely for graduation week. I am. We've had a lot of great kids graduate that nobody ever thought would, but us.
I'm pleased to announce that our program had 10 graduates and getting our minor and certificate in tribal management and emergency services. 10.
Right on. Right on. Good job.
10.
And get their grades in because you know you're giving them a heart attack.
They know me.
Are you avoiding the emails that say, are the grades up yet? Are the grades up yet? Are the grades up yet? Especially from the ones who didn't do any work until the last week of class.
No, I'll try to do it maybe sometime tonight, hopefully.
You know what else I've noticed? Every single email I get, the reason they're behind is they had to take care of their grandma.
Everybody's grandma got sick.
All at the same time this semester.
I've had a couple funerals, but we've all been there.
Oh yeah, but you know what? I didn't lie.
We did the same thing.
I know. I would say, listen, I didn't get it done. I'm really sorry. Can I have an extension, or I'll just have to take the grade you gave me?
We didn't do that though.
I was waiting tables, had kids at home, and was full-time undergrad. Thank God I had your class.
Yeah, I got you through.
You did. And you know what? You taught me that it's okay to speak up in class because God knows I had to in yours.
No, and you notice I always had to correct you, but that's okay. That's all part of the learning process.
And it was one of those years you were doing early morning classes.
You know, it was 8 o'clock class.
I feel like I showed up in pajamas on more than one. Me and the stripper that sat beside me had problems getting there on time.
I didn't know she was a stripper.
That's why she always brought you pop. But you know, God bless her, she was there sitting in class every day after working a clearly hard night.
I always had something to say, just like you. That was good. Anyway, so our natives of the week month
are definitely the Native students across the entire country.
And especially
who are hopefully going to change the world for Native peoples.
And especially those 10 that got graduated and with our certificate in tribal management emergency services.
You know, I look at the kids that I feel like are still so young and they're on their second and third kid and working jobs and living life. And I think, oh, I used to just pray that you would go to class once a week.
Hey, well, we got a lot of stuff we want to cover today, so I'll let you take it because you have several rants coming on, don't you?
No, all I really want to talk about is the boarding school initiative report. I downloaded it. It's a lengthy report, but I seriously think everybody in Indian country needs to read that report and start talking about it. I listened to her talk about the boarding school initiative, and this phase is to open people's eyes. I guess because we're Native, we don't realize how many people absolutely had no idea this even occurred. So hopefully this report will shine a light. It said that there were 408 boarding schools in 37 states. 408 boarding schools.
You know what I have to do? I need to teach a class on it.
You know what, Ed? And I'm not just blowing smoke up your ever so ample booty. I learned.
What did you just call me?
I said you're ever so ample booty.
I thought you called me an apple.
No, I would never.
My apple booty.
In fact, that almost got me in someone called you Apple in class. And when we went out in the hallway, I put them up against the wall with my finger this close to their nose saying, if you ever call any native an apple again, white boy, I'm coming.
I know who that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
also,
I should be teaching the class on that.
Illuminative came out with a little blurb about Genoa boarding school. It was the biggest boarding school in the Midwest. They only reported 100 dead, and the bones all washed away, being put, how you said it, into making a culvert and stuff. But why weren't those, my question is, why weren't those deaths reported when they occurred? Why is there not a record of every child that died at these boarding schools?
Can I answer that question?
Absolutely.
They did not keep
taught the class.
They did not keep records. They didn't in any record that they kept. You know how they kept records? If they had a pencil and a piece of paper, that they didn't have computers, they didn't have any kind
Why
of.
Why weren't the names of the children in those boarding schools written down somewhere?
They didn't do it, Cindy. And the one.
Why? So they could hide the numbers of all the children they killed.
I don't know what the motivation was for not doing it, but that was part of the challenge when we were teaching the class and doing some research, is trying to locate. They were able to come up with some list because they had.
They said about 100 names.
There's more than that, because or that died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here was the issue, and I think I've addressed this before. It was in the 30s, as you recall, all you history majors out there, we went through the Depression, and then we had all these government-funded works projects that were funded through the New Deal. And one of the projects was a canal that was supposed to increase the irrigation capacity of the farmland. And that canal was routed right on the edge of, I mean, literally on the edge of the boarding school. And that's where, to the people that were up there, to at least their credit, they recognized that that's probably, that's where the cemetery was, and that the bones got washed away because of. Now we can look at, the people that built the canal. Should they have noticed that this was back in the 30s, and they didn't care.
Where it was exterminate natives.
And they didn't care. They had a project to do. So what? We have some bones. We're just going to plow right through. And then the canal was opened, and there goes most of the attempts, at least. Now there might be some remnants of some bones there. We don't know, but that's what they suspect happened. With the kids that were buried at Genoa. And the people that were up there were up front with me when I started, and they said, we think, we're pretty sure that the cemetery was over here, and that's where the canal went through, and it, washed all the bones and the bodies away.
Granted, I haven't been there for a long time, but when I was at Genoa, I was there with a group of Native students and listened to a white woman talk about how much the kids loved being there.
Yes, and to their credit and to our credit, by the time we were done, going up there and having our exchanges about what happened, they changed that film, and it indicated, that maybe it wasn't all, roses and everybody's happy to be there. It's changed over does it need to go further? Absolutely. But from when it first started, and they had these little films and videos and displays about, yes, it was pretty much a one-sided, oh yeah, they had a great experience here. This is where, where they learned, were able to do this, and
where they learned to do media labor. Yeah,
so granted, there is much to be done, and I think this report and other efforts to raise awareness will go a long ways in helping us, redefine the narrative of the boarding schools, instead of them being a happy place to be. Actually tell the true story of what happened.
the legacy of the boarding schools is a cycle of violence, mental health problems, substance abuse, broken families, intergenerational trauma. I mean, there's nothing left good. There was nothing good for the natives that came out of the boarding schools. Nothing. Meanwhile, we lost what, 2 or 3 generations of parents.
More than that.
It's heartbreaking. And I guess what surprised me so much was that the ignorance of it to the outside world. But I will say, my mom was in the boarding school and she never said one word about it. Not one word, not one story, not one, here's what they did to me. It was as if that period of her time just did not exist. So I guess it's hard to learn about the truth about boarding schools when your families don't even talk about it.
Well, more will come out as Auntie Deb pushes for disclosure of what has happened or what took place on these Indian boarding schools. You know what the problem is going to be, though, Cindy?
Getting the federal government to do anything to help.
No. We won't be able to tell that story because it would be banned by law. There'll be laws in place saying, "Oh, you can't teach that because that's going to make somebody feel bad. That's going to point to a bad time in our history that we don't want that happening to our kids, feeling bad about what happened."
You know who could change this? Young people. If young people would get out and vote, some of these dinosaurs who believe this way, some of these ex-football players who are still living on their football years 30 years later, maybe wouldn't get elected. If the kids would get out and vote, maybe things would change. But until it's you and my age voting and a lot of ignorance floating around out there in the ether, nothing's going to change. Look at Sharon Davids.
Well, segue. Thank you. Thank you very much for moving us into that direction. I wanted to talk a little bit about how Sharon Davids, I think she's still the only native because Annie Deb gave up her congressional seat to be the Secretary of Interior, only native woman that's in Congress right now. And the Kansas legislature redistricted her legislative district. And I was looking at the map, and it used to be along the eastern end of Kansas. There was a long vertical narrow strip that, and I think the ratio was around 52-48, something like that, in terms of the political party mixture. And now that it was redistricted, they essentially they broke it in half. They broke it in half. They put one in them. They essentially, it's purely, you look at the map, that's classic gerrymandering.
Yep.
And they moved a large part of her district that had a very diverse population, and they put it in Megaland, whatever it's called. And so it's going to be extremely difficult for Sharon Davids to get reelected.
She's a woman, she's brown, and she's a member of LGBTQIA community. Do we really think she'll stand a chance?
But the district,
realistically, all 3 of them are bad. Brown, woman, LGBTQIA member. All 3 of those are taken one-on-one could get her not elected. But all 3 of them put together in a very, very Bible Belt conservative area, kids have to vote. And I might say it every time we have a show until November, kids have to vote. 18 years old, you're old enough to vote. You're old enough to make a change. My generation has obviously messed everything up.
What happened was that the court initially held that it was, first the governor vetoed it, and then it got overridden by the legislature, and then it was taken to court, and the district court invalidated it, said it was gerrymandering, essentially. Then the Kansas Supreme Court just returned it and said, no, it's okay. So essentially they pretty much, now there might be some chance for her to take it to, never mind, I was going to say Supreme Court.
I know, and what's going to happen once it gets
never mind. She's
once again, woman. the Supreme Court should scare us. And you know, I think a real good case could be made for either expanding the court or limiting their terms.
Well, that might be, but once again, it takes members of Congress to pass that type of legislation, and nothing's happening right now. So
nothing's happening in Congress at all right now, because it's all just a fight. They don't care about us. They don't care about us people who are working to make a living. They don't care about us. They care about money and donors.
You want to hear a good thing, though?
Yes.
Good thing, sorta, I guess. You know, the Wilma man killer.
Right. I can't wait. You know, I'm making earrings out of those.
It's gonna come out in. I read they said some first part of June. So
June 6th.
We'll be able to have a Wilma man, our own. Instead of a Indian head nickel, you got Wilma man killer quarter.
Well, remember they had that Sacagawea money for a while.
Yeah. That was I think that was $1.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm going to make earrings for everybody. We're all going to be wearing Wilma man killer quarters.
Yeah, and you know what though, it'll cost you 50 cents in material. You can sell them for $50 bucks.
Well, do you believe it? I'm so excited. You know, good news is out there for sure. Wilma man killer's quarter. Res Dog season 2 coming in August. Rutherford Falls starts in June.
Resident Alien is coming back up again.
Yep. Indians are out there. And you know, my kids had me watch some show called 1883. And you know what? I was good, except for like giving the blonde girl some weird bead thing to wear. Other than that, they portrayed the white people as just kind of ignorant. Everybody but 5 of them died by the end. And the Indians, they portrayed as the Indians as basically how Indians were. They showed what happened when they killed a bunch of Lakota. They showed the, I guess, violence that happened against natives on that Oregon Trail. And I said to my daughter at the end of it, I said, you know, I don't even feel bad that all the white people died. They shouldn't have gone anyway. It wasn't their country. But the natives were portrayed really well. Graham Greene was the final chief at the end who told them where they could live. And it was a really good, I think we're getting better portrayals of who Native Americans are.
Oh, there's another show coming out. It's starring Loretta's son.
Yeah, Zon McLaren.
It's Dark Winds, I think it's called.
I think so. I'm going to have to find out. I subscribe to these streaming systems until the show is over, then I cancel it.
I think it's
going to be a cop in that one too.
I think it's Navajo shot on the mountain.
Is it some of those Tony Hillerman books they were talking about making into shows?
I don't know.
Speaking of good news, your brother's an honorary degree member now.
Brother Gary
Gary Farmer's posting pictures of him in his graduation regalia.
Man, we're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to top that. You know that.
Well, now he's gonna think he can teach.
Why not?
He's ready. He's got that degree.
Why not? He's got the.
I can't believe we didn't think of it first.
Well, we were talking.
Dad, what's wrong with you?
No. But you got anything else for us?
You know, that about winds me up for the week.
No, I sort of.
You know why it's been a good week? I haven't heard one word from Christy. Shut your mouth. No.
It's coming.
Oh, her run. You think she's gonna run for either president or if Trump wins?
You're the one who brought her up. It was a good show, Kenny, wasn't it? It was a good show. And then you had to bring her up.
I had to, Ed, because she is the mold on our walls.
Oh, you know what I wanted to mention too? Thanks for reminding me, Kenny, that we have more time to kill. I was gonna say this was last week. We were supposed to have a show, but somebody got did you get picked up?
Somebody had a life. That's all I have to say.
All right, yeah, you had a life. You had to go tell the judge about it. Anyway, I was watching Jeopardy, and they had a category, it was Native women. And the first, I think the 200 question was, she was the first Native American woman to receive her medical doctor degree.
Suzanne LaFlash.
She made it to Jeopardy, but I thought I was gonna.
Did anybody get it?
No, got it. And there was the $1,000 question, the big one. Guess who the answer was, and no one got.
Who?
About a ballerina.
We just finished reading her book to the kids. Do you know Maria Tallchief was one of
It was some about she was some, I can't remember what ballet. She was the lead ballerina for whatever it was, and I thought
prima ballerina.
I know that one.
Her parents were recipients of that Osage oil money, and they weren't the group of natives that lost everything within a couple generations. They lived well to further her and her sister's career. They moved them all to New York and lived there.
You know what? I was thinking if I was on that TV show, I probably would have panicked.
I'd have got them all, but I'd have gotten those right, but absolutely nothing about geography or English composition.
Susan.
Or you would have had one of those senior moments where you panic and you can't think of the name because you're worried you won't be able to think of the name.
Then I wouldn't have been able to go back to the reservation again. You did what?
I know, on Jeopardy in front of everybody.
Only one question that you should have. Then I would have.
You know what? We would have been both so excited to see the category. We would have won every question.
No, I can't remember what the other ones were, but I just remember they had those two that we've talked about quite a bit. I'm thinking, yeah, at least there would have been at least two questions that I could have gotten $1,200.
My mom made me take ballet.
The rest of the show, I'd be sitting my buzzer like this.
My mom made me take ballet from the time I was 6 till 4 till 16 or 17 because of Maria Tallchief. And when I would complain, she'd say, "Do you think Maria Tallchief complains?" I'd be like, "Mom, I'm short. They're not going to make me into a prima ballerina." And she'd say, "You can do it. Maria Tallchief can do it. You can do it."
I remember the host was waiting for the 3 contestants to ring in. I'm like, Tallchief, Maria Tallchief. I know that one.
She was an amazing woman, man. She broke into a world that was not friendly to any outsiders. They didn't even like people from America.
Yeah, that, and also imagine getting a medical degree when
But she also practiced for 3 hours before school and 4 hours after school. If I would have suggested that to any of my kids, they'd have called the cops and had me arrested for child abuse.
It would have been valid too. But you wanna bring up that one topic that we talked about? Maybe not. Ashley Callingbull, I'm going to go ahead and say it.
On the front of Sports Illustrated, I say good job. I say it's about dang time. They've had curvy models on there. They've had every variety of a white woman possible on there. They've had a few African Americans, but she is, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, the first swimsuit illustrated. And I know some people are talking about it's sexualizing her. That's athletic. That's not sexualizing. She wasn't in Playboy. She was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Do you know how many little girls now could see themselves on the cover of Sports Illustrated? I saw her dress at the Met Gala. I mean, she's out there and she's taking her place right alongside the normal population.
That's
okay. I wouldn't argue with me on this one. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Okay, I wasn't going to weigh in because it's...
Unless they put her in like beads and buckskins on the cover of Sports.
No, trust me. She could have used the little beads and buckskins on that one of those bikinis.
Showed off her great athletic body.
I'm just saying.
My mom and dad would not have allowed it.
What's that?
My mom and dad would not have allowed it.
Would not have allowed
one of their daughters to be on the Sports Illustrated swimsuit. But I say, hey, we've looked at Christy Brinkley enough times. It's time to bring in a brown woman.
All right. Well, okay. I'll defer to your...
Oh my God, Kenny, write it down. He's deferring to me.
I was gonna say your wisdom, but I caught myself.
Kenny, write this down. This is it. This is the last show we'll ever do. Ed said something nice about me. Time to end our career.
Kenny, do you have a quick minute? Do you have a quick minute? 1 minute. I got an email from someone who wanted to talk to me about doing some things with our program, and guess where why he wanted to talk to me?
Why?
Because of this show. He watched the show, and he wanted to do some things to help out.
We're opening minds and educating people.
And once again, I said, you must not have much of a life.
Why do you say that? I'm good. Maybe people shouldn't turn in if it's just you, but when I'm on, we're good. This is almost over our 10th year. Kenny, am I right, since we started on the radio?
We don't know. We don't care.
Because we started my first or second year here, and it's been like 12 years since I've been gone 2 years. So
now Kenny's waving the middle finger at us again, saying that we have one.
Kenny was 12, couldn't grow facial hair, but he did the radio show. Now he's 50, still working on that degree.
He's working on his 7th degree, aren't you, Kenny? But are we out of time yet?
Kenny's not even paying any attention to us. I think he's talking on his cell phone or something.
All right. He's probably checking out Ashley Calling Bull. You got her webpage up there, Kenny? You checking that out?
And she is a beautiful, beautiful woman. She wore at the Met Gala, she wore a beautiful dress with all native jewelry made for her by Indigenous women. Right on, sister.
I don't know if some Indigenous women made that bikini she was wearing. Would have taken much.
And she's athletic and good
I'm
to
tired
women.
of listening to Cindy right now.
Well, thanks for coming, folks.
All right. Well, you know what? I've invited Cornelius on next week.
Good.
So we'll talk
Our
about
little corn.
talk about our new head of whatever title is now. But until then, we'll see you next week, or unless Cindy gets picked up again. Well, maybe it's 2 to 3.
Have a good week, everybody.